Basically, what's happening is, inshallah, I plan on December 2nd to go to Vietnam and to land in Ho Chi Minh City, and then cycle along the coast about 1,600 kilometers up to the north to a city called Hanoi. Cycling from south to north, tell us, initial verdicts. What do you think?
It's pretty impossible.
But if I can do it, I end up doing it, which I believe I can, then how much more amazing would that be, inshallah? You know what I'm trying to say? As an individual, I want to know how people give charity. I want to know how it works on the other side of the world. And I think that, places like Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam can be great places to start because...
Not only, but the first person to circumnavigate all of Vietnam on a bicycle was a French dude named Pierre Coupeau. But this was in 1936. This is in the midst before World War II, and this was before there were cars.
Let's not forget, if you're doing it for a good cause, anything is possible.
So my dad was in Colombia during the late 90s. He actually witnessed FARC attacks. FARC is a rebel group in Colombia. Started out as a communist movement. Now they sell drugs. It's typical Latin American stuff.
Wow.
And he actually witnessed 9/11 as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
In person?
That's crazy. What a life. What a crazy life.
So my grandfather doesn't harbor any hatred towards America.
That's nice.
They love their annual meetings when they have beer.
Right.
I think Australia is like, from the words of some of my Australian peers, it is not exceptional at anything, but not bad at anything. It's just middle of the ground. They don't like international students, not because of any cultural reasons. I mean, a lot of the hirers are also migrants. It's mostly because of legal reasons.
Systematic.
Or they just assume we don't speak
hours.
English, even though they do have pretty high English requirements to get into the country. Like, if you don't have an English sounding name, you're more likely to get eliminated.
Yeah.
Australians value local experience over international experience because I had to get used to being called an English name.
I just wanted to know, if there was another destiny, what you would be named.
That's crazy.
And
Why?
Andrew, Robert, Charles,
Imagine this
Eugene.
guy calling.
No,
Robert.
Eugene. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Chit, Chat and Chai. Today we have with us our very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so you can call me Jason, but my real name is Hoang Anh. So I'm originally from Hanoi. I'm here as an international student. I'm studying international relations at La Trobe University. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, Shazai, what are we speaking about today?
Today we're speaking about something that you might be doing soon, Numan.
I hope that's not all we're speaking about, though, because... Anyways.
No, yeah, but, I mean, obviously, we decided to get more diversity on this podcast because we've only really had people from Turkic nations thus far. And I just really like the depth of perspectives that people like my friend Jason here can provide to certain issues that we would like to talk about on the podcast, especially those about traveling and specifically about cycling in certain countries.
So what am I doing? What am I going to do? Do you want to tell me?
Yeah, so apparently, Numan, you had this amazing idea or revelation all of a sudden to go cycling in one of the most apparently dangerous countries to cycle in.
It's
from
not the most
one
dangerous country to cycle in.
Well,
to
it
be
could
honest.
be
I
one
can
of
think
them.
of 50 more.
According to our guest, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. You've already done Japan, so this is your second time around.
Basically, what's happening is, inshallah, I plan on December 2nd to go to Vietnam and to land in Ho Chi Minh City. And from Ho Chi Minh City, I have some other things to do there as well, inshallah. There's a place called Tay Ninh as well. It's a city, not too big, but it's about 100 kilometers northwest of Ho Chi Minh City. But anyways, there's a Muslim community there. I'd like to see them. I'd like to see, they're called the Cham or Champan community, Vietnamese. They're a different sort of ethnic minority, but they are Muslim primarily, and I'd like to see how that community there is developing, and then cycle along the coast about 1,600 kilometers up to the north to a city called Hanoi, and we'll see what happens. How do you pronounce it? Hanoi?
Yes, Hanoi.
Hanoi.
Yeah, Hanoi.
Hanoi. Okay.
Hanoi.
All right. I am trying to learn some Vietnamese as well, inshallah. So we'll see how that goes.
Of course. Let's hear some of the words that you've learned so far. Yeah.
Literally, I don't know.
We can have a little lesson, Duolingo lesson.
I can count from 1 to 10, but my accent is really bad. I'm so sorry. But 1, from 0, I guess, is home, mort.
How's
Hai
it going so far?
Yeah.
ba bốn năm
Yep.
sáu wait bảy
Yep.
tám
Yep.
chín
Yep.
10.
Okay, great.
Was that alright?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
man,
amazing.
I got approved. I got Vietnamese approval.
That's
Yeah,
good.
you finished
Okay.
the first counting system.
The
They're
first counting
actually-
system.
There are
What?
actually two counting systems.
Oh,
okay.
One is for everyday counting, and one is for it's the cardinal number, so like it's for order. Now, for context, Vietnam was colonized by the Chinese for over
gonna
1,000
say.
years,
Right.
so we have a lot of words that are of Chinese influence.
Mm.
The native counting system, that's in our native language, but the cardinal counting system was taken from Chinese.
Mm.
Now, it'll sound very different from Mandarin because Mandarin went through a large linguistic shift.
Mm.
It will sound much closer to what you would hear in like Cantonese, Hokkien, or Hakka because it was adopted from Middle Chinese. So that's gonna be
Wow.
Linh, Nhất, Nhị, Tam, Tứ, Ngũ, Lục, Bát, Cửu, Thập. Yeah, even I don't remember. So.
What is that? That's 1 to 10.
Yeah,
but
1 to 10.
With the
To the second
okay.
way.
So it's more of a Chinese influence.
Yeah,
Okay.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Wow.
and you can kind of see the similarities. Like E or Sam, that's Nhất, Nhị, Tam,
Yeah.
or much closer to the Cantonese Yet E Sam.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Lots of things to be learned. But we just want to know, cycling from south to north. Tell us initial verdicts. What do you think?
It's pretty impossible.
It's impossible.
Um,
Okay, you heard it here first. Impossible. Can I
Yeah,
do the
just
impossible?
cancel your tickets now. Might as well get your suitcases
I,
back home.
I hope this
Yeah.
doesn't come across as a red flag or something bad about me, but I really
Be like a
want to challenge
don't you?
myself.
Yeah.
And I know that there are many, many risks. However, I think if I can do it, and if I can really raise the stakes, you know, like saying, oh, this is something people consider impossible. But if I can do it, I end up doing it, which I believe I can, then how much more amazing would that be, inshallah? You know what I'm trying to say?
I see you're a man who doesn't shy away from a challenge, Numan. I think that's what makes you one of the most feared Uzbek Turkic people in the world.
Okay, I guess.
Ibn Battuta of 2025 here.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm going with. I hope my intention's in the right place. Like, I want to know how Islam is growing. I want to learn the language. I want to deepen my understanding of Vietnamese culture. But also, I want to establish, you know, a very important project to myself, which is something to do with like giving charity. Because I feel like, you know, as an individual, I want to know how people give charity. I want to know how it works on the other side of the world. And I think that, you know, places like Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam can be great places to start because for us, you know, alhamdulillah, they're quite cheap. But also there's a growing community of perhaps Muslims who need humanitarian aid. So I want to be able to go, you know, firsthand that kind of experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a really
So-
genuine cause.
I hope so.
Now we understand underlying we have something that's really genuine, right? It's not
100%.
just for likes and
No,
clicks
no, no,
on
no.
social
100%
media.
it's
surely.
not. 100% it's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Jason, go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
So the first, I think the only person, not only, but the first person to circumnavigate all of Vietnam on a bicycle was a French dude named Pierre Coupeau. But this was in 1936. This is in the midst before World War II, and this was before there were cars. And it took him almost 60 days.
60.
60 days.
Yeah.
That's
Ooh.
2 months.
He was a slow biker. He took his time, man. He was
Yes.
like kicking his feet up in, you know, Halong Bay or something, and
Yeah.
he was chilling, you know. So who knows?
So what you're saying is that you're like an Olympian level bike rider. So he's gonna be doing this in half the time that this fellow here did it.
I'm definitely not.
Okay.
I don't claim to be that, but
Okay.
I have the spirit. I have the
You
hope.
have the spirit, yeah, and you have a good cause behind it as well. Let's not forget, if you're doing it for a good cause, anything is possible.
Well, who knows? Because I think in the age of social media, let's say I've garnered enough support online, and you know that first video, alhamdulillah, like it got you know, some attention, and I've already heard from a few Vietnamese Muslims here as well, and others who have said, "Oh wow, you know, if you think you can do it, I support you," and that kind of stuff. Like I was really encouraged, even after just, you know, I haven't met these people at all. So if these people in Vietnam can also believe and support that I can do it, then, you know, what if they can support me, and what if it's like a whole Forrest Gump moment, you know, where it's like they're all running after me. You know?
There's a thing about Vietnamese culture you gotta understand, especially if they're from the north. If they just give you constant praise, it actually just means they don't really care about you.
Oh, really?
The very northern way of caring is being a tiger mom. If they genuinely care for you, they're gonna say no, don't do it. You're gonna die.
So
Wow. Jason already cares
kind
about
of like
me.
my mom in that sense. I guess my mom is a Vietnamese mom at heart. Tiger mom.
Tiger mom, okay. Is
what
your
do you-
mom also, would you say she's very much like that? Like she'll tell you, no, don't go to Australia, you know, there's all this and that.
Yeah. Tell us a
What was
little
her
bit about your
opinion?
experience so far
Like
here in
growing up.
Australia.
Oh, yeah, also, yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up, and how is it here?
Yeah. So I was born in Vietnam, but ever since I was very young, because my dad's career, so a little bit about my backstory. My family's ancestors, we were fishermen. We pretty much lived on the banks of the Red River for most of our history. According to my grandfather, it was because we didn't want to pay the land tax. Because most of Vietnam was still under feudal rule, and of course indirectly through the French. When my grandfather was born, he was born 2 years after Ho Chi Minh declared independence in the north. So he grew up under communism. For a lot of the peasants, actually, I would say for communism in the north, if you were not a peasant, life was bad.
Yeah.
But for the peasants, it was great because you get land reform, you get
Yeah.
land redistribution. My grandfather's family got land. Afterwards, he decided to join the army because it was the only way to get money
Yeah.
back then. He was sent deep into the jungles of Laos, trained with a bunch of Pathet Lao rebels, and he told me that he didn't march into Saigon, but he marched into Vientiane. So I think he probably caused the overthrow of the
Wow.
Laotian kingdom.
Oh, that's amazing.
But yeah, it's pretty bizarre because he also told me that he had a cousin who actually defected and joined the other side in the Vietnam War. So
Interesting.
we have a distant cousin who may or may not be distant. My grandpa's cousin may or may not be alive. Who knows?
Wow.
He
That's
could
amazing.
even be here as well.
Yeah. Oh, he could be here in Australia.
Yeah, as
Oh,
one of the
wow.
refugees.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
So after that, my dad pretty much grew up in like post-war Vietnam, especially in the north, blockades, poor, and all that stuff. He throughout his life, his only second language was Russian, and of course, you know, living in a communist country, all the propaganda is like, oh, the West is bad, you know, communism is good, and then 91 happened. They had to change.
USSR collapsed. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So my dad decided not to go to university. He just became a chef. He said that back then he still had a very negative view of the West. He thought that the West was, you know, bad and all that stuff. And of course, this is all the propaganda.
Growing up in communist Vietnam, that would do that to you.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
my uncle, on my dad's side, he was working for the Japanese embassy, and then he had contacts with the American embassy. Because this was around the time when the Americans already normalized relations. This was like the late '90s.
Yeah.
There was this American guy who wanted a chef,
Yeah.
and so he connected my dad, obviously, and they became great friends.
Nice.
And wherever he went, my dad would go along. So
Yeah.
my dad was in Colombia during the late '90s. He actually witnessed FARC attacks. FARC is a rebel group in Colombia. Started out as a communist movement. Now they sell drugs. It's typical Latin American stuff.
Wow. That's amazing.
My dad was in the States, and he actually witnessed 9/11 as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
In person?
That's crazy. What a life. What a
Yeah.
crazy life.
So later on, this American diplomat, he became good friends with my dad, and because his employment was relatively, you know, just based on him, like not a lot of social security nets, he allowed my dad to bring his family along. He became great friends, and he's basically my godfather now.
Wow.
He's banking a little bit of my education right now in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Good to have
when I
a
was
sugar daddy.
when I was very young, I actually spent when I was I think 3 to 4 years old in Indonesia. So I actually grew up inside the house of the General Consulate in Medan. The
Oh,
US General
wow.
Consulate.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you and your family, they're quite international. They get around. Like that's pretty cool.
He was
That's
a
really
global citizen from birth, I guess you could
cool.
say.
Yeah.
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 And what brought you here to, I guess, one of the furthest away countries in the world to study international relations at La Trobe?
Yeah. So
I would really love to know that story.
I still haven't finished my background.
Okay.
Oh.
And then afterwards, we moved to the States. I spent like 2006 to 2009 there.
Okay.
So I spent 3 years there. That's why I sound very American.
Formative years.
Yeah,
That's when
I
your
grew up.
accent-
I grew up in Virginia, so it's the American South.
Yeah, a lot of
I
Uyghurs
heard-
there actually as well.
In Virginia,
Yeah.
I heard there's a lot of Vietnamese in Texas. That's like one of the largest like
Yeah.
minority groups, and around like those southern states. But Virginia, is there a big group there as well, big community?
Yes, but they're
nice.
more of the recent immigrants. So
okay.
when it comes to Vietnamese migrations, there's always two groups: the ones who came in after the war as refugees, and the ones who come into the countries as professionals. They might immigrate for better job opportunities.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, and then of course moved back to Vietnam. Spent a couple of years in Italy. It's like every summer my family we would go there, and so I've always wanted to study abroad. I just it was the States. The States was the first obvious choice because I grew up most of my life, like a part of my life there. But when I got accepted into a pretty good American college, got a full scholarship, applied for the visa, it was rejected.
Oh, what?
For some reason.
The visa was rejected.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And it's just kind of bizarre. I do blame Senior Trump.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it all happened, like it is what it is. Now you're here, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this was in 2019.
Oh,
So-
2019.
It would have been
Okay.
easier then than it is now. Now it's even harder to get a visa in America.
Yeah.
You know about the H1B1s and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. So I just did my undergraduate in Vietnam. I did international studies. Worked my way around.
Yeah.
My first actual job was at my uni. I went on a field expedition with my professor. It was with the World Bank. It was on surveying ethnic minorities because the government was trying to expand a Soviet-era dam and it was going to infringe on their native.
Where was that? Where'd you do that?
It's in a little province called Hubing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that province does not exist after the merger of the provinces,
Really?
which just happened this year. So,
Oh, okay. Wow.
but yeah, Hubing is a majority Muong. The Muong are like the cousins to the main Vietnamese people. They're like if we weren't colonized by the Chinese, so their language is like pure Vietnamese. If you think of it like that.
That's why a lot of like Vietnamese in major cities wouldn't understand them.
Yeah,
you say?
no, you
Okay.
wouldn't understand.
Alright.
But yeah, studied international relations, did a lot of jobs here and there. I worked at the United Nations Development Program at Hanoi. I worked at the ASEAN Center for Energy. And of course, I worked at the U.S. Embassy in Hanoi as well.
Wow. So you worked there. That's on your resume.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
it's kind of bizarre. I think.
I actually have that in my notes as well. I really wanted to ask you about what your experience was working in national affairs in Vietnam.
Right, I'll get
Yeah.
I'll get back to that.
Always jumping the gun, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're excited, man.
Yeah, I am.
You're so excited. He's fanboying over you.
Oh well, look, I have to fanboy over the guests.
Yeah, I find it kind of bizarre because my grandfather fought against the Americans and my dad ended up working for the
Yeah.
Americans. And yeah, my godfather and my grandfather are great friends. You know, and my grandfather doesn't harbor any hatred towards America.
That's nice.
They love their annual meetings when they have a beer.
So he kind of did a 180 from his communist upbringing to like a more Western, open-minded approach.
Because I think for a lot of people in Vietnam, especially if they're from the north, a lot of them weren't ideologically charged. It was easy
Just
money.
propaganda.
Yeah, just join the military, easy money.
Fair enough.
He didn't really care. My grandfather has no opinions on anything.
Oh wow.
I mean, he has social opinions, but that's different. But yeah, and so I decided I wanted to study abroad. I had many options. I thought of Germany. I even thought of the UK. But I decided on Australia mostly because it's pretty close to home. Tuition fees are relatively okay. Now they're not going to be as cheap as Europe, but the main benefit is if you're going to Europe, you're just going there on a vacation. You won't be able to get any job opportunities. And it's not a very multicultural society in Europe from most countries. And the English language was the biggest factor because I was kind of unbothered to learn French or German.
Yeah, exactly. And especially in UN, you know, French and Spanish, these are like very, you know, they're languages that you need for a lot of their projects, for a lot of things, especially French.
I have a lot of European friends. They're all great friends, but they all told me that, Europe is just kind of a bubble on its own. If you're not a local, you know, people don't really want to interact with you. But Australia felt more cosmopolitan. I kind of felt like it was kind of like the U.S. A lot of it visually looks like the U.S. Even the suburbia vibe of it. That's why I decided on Australia.
Yeah.
Been here for a year and a half now.
Yeah.
I would say I don't hate it, but I
He
feel like
doesn't hate it. That's a good start.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
good.
that is
But
good
I
stuff.
thought we have a pretty good country here. It's pretty nice.
Well, coming from somebody who was born here, you'd say that, of course.
Okay,
I
sorry.
think Australia is like And from the words of some of my Australian peers, it is not exceptional at anything, but not bad at anything. It's just middle of the ground.
Middle of the ground.
Okay, I guess so.
Well, they do like to really praise their coffee here. If you're
No, we have the best coffee.
coffee brewer, then please come to Australia. Otherwise,
I would say it's,
yeah,
coffee is good if you like, you know, your cappuccinos and lattes and flat whites, but you should at least try coffee from other parts of the world.
Yeah, 100%.
I think so.
100%,
Brazilian coffee, I heard that's pretty.
And
good.
Italians will disagree with you on the coffee part.
Oh yeah.
I've lived in
yeah.
Italy, so
100%.
Wow. Okay.
100%. Italians probably.
Nice. So, is there much of a divide between the north and south of Vietnam right now? Would you say,
okay.
other than language?
So I think I'll have to go back with Shazad's questions first.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
was a full
There is a
180
queue.
there.
Yeah, there's a whole
There's
like line.
There's a whole status that we have to follow on the podcast. I'm not sure if you know about
Sorry, I didn't know. I wasn't
agenda.
aware of the agenda.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I should have briefed you. My bad.
But yeah,
Yeah.
international affairs. Sorry, the question was.
Yes. How is international affairs being a public servant in Vietnam?
Oh, yeah. So I never joined the public service. I am not eligible for the most part because you have to go through an exam and all that stuff.
Right. Okay.
If you're doing international affairs in Vietnam,
Diplomat. Sorry.
most obvious choice is to work at Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but you have to join a civil servant exam, and it's relatively competitive. Obviously, being a country that historically has had a lot of nepotism, even before communism, it does happen. And generally speaking, they do filter out your backgrounds. Like, there's a reason why certain people of certain regions are less likely to join the civil service in Vietnam. That's because, unfortunately, they had a granduncle who served on the wrong side of the war. But yeah, I think joining the civil service in Vietnam is not too different from like Australia. In general, there's a little bit of nepotism, but mostly it's just very competitive. They don't choose the most talented person; they choose the most reliable and secure person.
Right, of course.
That's always national security. It's the same in most
And I
countries.
guess the one that aligns with the party rhetoric the most,
Yeah,
which is, you know, if you're a migrant or if you're like a second or third generation migrant, that can be pretty difficult, especially in a country like Australia, where you're trying to get into the APS, but your ancestry says otherwise, and your ancestry is saying, oh, just be a nationalist and go to all these protests, but now you can't because you have to really uphold the Labour Party's values, unfortunately.
Yeah, here politics is
Politics is just a headache.
Yeah.
But tell us more about maybe your experience in Australia thus far, and any challenges or setbacks you might have experienced as an international student. What do you think are the most challenging parts?
yeah. So like back to the international relations part, I think in Vietnam, aside from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the only other options is you can work for foreign embassies.
Okay.
So that's why I work for the U.S. Embassy or NGOs. Or now there's a growing field of geopolitical consulting groups because a lot of businesses are opening factories in Vietnam. Like NVIDIA just opened one last year. With regards to, so which one do you want to go? His question first or yours?
I guess this was a little bit more in line with what we were talking about. But I guess, yeah, obviously you've worked for a period of time in diplomacy in Vietnam, and now you're pursuing a Master of International Relations in Australia in Melbourne. How does that kind of translate? Like, how does that translate? How was, so your experiences, you're a very experienced individual that, you know, it's quite obvious to see. Have you found that your experiences in Vietnam have translated here in Australia, have been recognized for the most part?
Yeah, I think that's my main struggle I've had here. I think that's the similar struggle you'll encounter from a lot of international students, but mostly from master's level international students.
Okay.
With bachelor students, at least they're spending their formative years here. They still have the same struggles as most international students, like limited job opportunities or the casual, I wouldn't use the word racism, but just casual filtering in the job market. You know, they don't like international students, not because of any cultural reasons. I mean, a lot of the hirers are also migrants. It's mostly because of legal reasons.
Systematic, yeah.
Or they just assume we don't speak
hours.
English, even though they do have pretty high English requirements to get into the country. Names are also a big part. Like, if you don't have an English-sounding name, you're more likely to get eliminated.
Yeah, this is another good point, by the way. So your actual name is, forgive me if I pronounce it incorrectly, but it's Hoang Anh?
Yeah, it's Hoang Anh.
Yeah, Hoang Anh. And now you've kind of adapted to what most Southeast Asian and East Asians do as well, is get an English name, which is Jason, obviously. How have you found, like, juggling this dual identity here in Australia. So.
Yeah, it's bizarre because like in Vietnam with my resume, I was able to land pretty good jobs. I got job offers at the Norwegian, Danish embassies, the GIZ, that's the German Aid Association, organization. So it was really easy to get a job in Vietnam, and I assume it'll be the same because I also got a job in Indonesia that was with the ASEAN Center for Energy. So I thought, yeah, on an international level, it could be pretty easy. No, in Australia, I feel like the total opposite is true. They Australians value local experience over international experience, and even Australian citizens who've worked abroad have the similar issue. That's one of the main problems I've been noticed in this country. A lot of opportunities aren't there for me because I think it's the major I studied. It's international relations. It's related to politics as a whole. As a foreigner, there really aren't many opportunities, and this would translate well in most societies. The only exception I would say is Europe, because Europe does have a lot of public activities that do allow foreigners to join.
NGOs,
Yeah.
etc.
But yeah, I mean, if you're an Australian, you go to Southeast Asia and you want to work in international relations, it'll be equally as hard for you. Because a lot of positions are only for ASEAN citizens. So
Right.
I can work for the ASEAN, and Europeans can work for the EU.
Yeah.
What options do Australians have, actually?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
With the name, yeah, I think it was a bizarre thing because I had to like get used to being called an English name, even though it was kind of a funny nickname.
So,
Did you choose Jason?
Yeah, story was like even in Vietnam, there is a little culture of like people wanted to be more Western presenting. They look towards the West for a lot of cultural influence, despite our history.
Yeah.
So a lot of us tend to adopt English names if you're teaching at an English center, for example, because a lot of Vietnamese parents, they would prefer to have someone who has an English name than a Vietnamese name to teach their kids English, even though they're all the same.
Yeah. Right.
Or we just adopt it for the sake of it. Like a lot of them won't even use it to a day-to-day basis. So that was chosen because my friends and I in high school, we just did like a little random circle thing.
Really?
Like
wow.
it was like a spin
spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel. I landed on Jason.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I never knew that. That's how they actually.
Can I just ask,
chose.
what were the other names on the wheel? Out of curiosity, I just wanted to know, like, if there was like another destiny, what you would be named after.
That's crazy. Why?
Andrew, Robert, Charles.
Imagine this guy
Eugene.
be calling.
No,
Robert.
Eugene. You were
Eugene.
lucky
I
there,
think
man.
you
You
were-
didn't end up
yeah,
with Eugene.
I can see Eugene maybe.
No, nah, Eugene. That's
Definitely
like an old
not
white
Robert.
guy.
No, not Robert. No.
Rob's fine.
Roberts would be a more Australian
Robert.
name. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Rob Green or something like that.
All right. So also, Shahzad, we've got here this tea. This is very light tea. Can you explain us what kind of tea this is?
Yeah, so this tea is a rose tea actually. Obviously, it may look light, but I think the flavor makes up for it. It's got a nice little tinge of, like that little sweet rose flavor or like a perfume flavor. So I really liked it.
Rose water.
Rose water, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, excuse us for having light looking tea, but this isn't Turkey or Istanbul, so this is Australia.
Okay, yeah. So I want to go back into this whole Vietnam trip. Now you're saying that it's definitely not going to work. What are the three biggest problems? What are the three biggest obstacles?
Yeah. So the first obstacle is the roads itself. Very bumpy. There aren't dedicated bike lanes, and the traffic is insane. Especially once you go from north to south, people are maniacs, especially car drivers.
Okay.
Truck drivers are known for causing a lot of accidents.
Yeah.
They're known for running over even people on motorcycles.
Wow.
Especially if it's late night driving.
Oh yeah, I won't be driving it late night.
Yeah, but
Like,
even during the
anything
day,
after dark, I'm not doing it.
even during the day, they're just known for not respecting the road rules. Second issue is how are you gonna resupply yourself? That's the thing. Beyond the big cities, the distance between civilization is vast. They don't have 7-Elevens in the middle of nowhere there.
Yeah.
Most of the locals don't even speak English, let alone they don't even surf beyond a certain couple hours.
Oh, like Australia.
Yeah, like in the major cities, things open from 1 to 1,
Oh.
like
okay.
1 a.m. to 1 a.m.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
in the countryside, they start pretty early, very early in the morning, like 5 to 6 a.m. But they're probably closed by 3 to 4 p.m. So that's going to be an issue, resupplying yourself. And the third problem is just getting around. There are a lot of roads that are only highways, which are car only. There's areas that are motorcycle shared, are very bumpy, very. They go deep into the villages. They might not even know how to navigate. Vietnam's little towns are known for having a lot of alleyways. Data might be an issue. Like you won't be able to get.
Say, what about Wi-Fi?
Yeah, you won't be able to get service in some areas.
I'll need a physical map, maybe.
Yeah, even maps aren't
compass.
Yeah, but it's a large country. But yeah, driving around will be pretty hard. It already is difficult on a motorcycle, let alone on a bicycle. Remember, the distance from Hanoi to Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, is almost as far as Brisbane and Melbourne, but without the flat land and nice roads. Much more jagged and much more mountainous.
But better views.
So you're
and
saying
more to do and see in
this
Vietnam.
is pretty much mission impossible, but
Yeah.
that's not going to stop our co-host from trying to finish it.
You know, it's interesting. You're looking at this from just, I suppose, a foreigner perspective, but I'm also now looking at it from a foreigner who's a Muslim perspective. Like, what about halal food? What about everything?
Yes,
you know what I'm trying to say?
That's going to be a big issue because
places to
You
pray.
might just have to live off like vegetables and rice for the entire day.
Vegetables and rice.
So-
yeah.
I also have to point this out. The vast majority of the people in the country are more or less
Buddhist?
spiritual.
Oh,
You can say
okay.
Buddhist, but like it's like saying most people in Latin America are Catholic.
Yeah,
They're more
right.
culturally Catholic.
Yeah, yeah.
And people are only Buddhist on holidays.
Mm.
But because of that, we don't have a lot of dietary restrictions. So pork is a relatively common ingredient in a lot of dishes.
Yeah.
And even if it's non-pork, there is no such thing as halal meat. Only at some Muslim restaurants in the 2 big cities,
Okay, yeah, of course.
which are catered towards Middle Eastern tourists.
Wow.
And in central Vietnam, so in the north we're known for using vegetable oil.
Yeah, okay.
In central Vietnam, they use lard in everything.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm
So
gonna
even
have
the
to grow my
seafood-
own food, maybe.
Yeah, even the seafood has
Don't
lard
do
in it. If safest option is vegetarian food, which does exist because there's still a lot of Buddhists there, but it's not really common. You really have to find it.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck in a random town, your only options are to risk it and hopefully they don't use lard on your food.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to use Google Maps, but with the Vietnamese keyboard instead of English
And
keyboard.
live off rainwater.
Because if you're driving on a
Still drink
motorcycle,
water. Yeah.
or if you're flying, you at least have control on where you're landing. But if you're
Yeah.
cycling, it's a pit stop. I guess you have to risk it.
Yeah.
And in the countryside, pork is still the most common meat.
Or
around
what
the
you
country.
could do is just find an animal, just say, Allahu Akbar, and that's halal, bro. Just go hunting.
I
Yeah,
hope you're
why not?
joking. I hope you're joking right now.
Because I feel like that could be your best bet at survival.
Yeah, no, there's a
Yeah.
lot of parasites. Don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
What is
yeah.
the most? I guess what is the most? Just for his information, what's the most common animal that you would find in the wildlife in Vietnam?
Mosquitoes.
Okay, fair enough. Malaria.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah,
find
yeah.
malaria in Vietnam,
However,
and you'll also starve to death.
If you were
So-
in central Vietnam, I guess the best option is just to have seafood, but they'll get pretty dull pretty soon.
But I feel like there's like hotels, you know what I mean? Like the small cities that are near the beach. You know what I mean? That's somewhere that they'll probably say, oh yeah, we got vegetarian food because we got vegetarian customers.
But you have to be in a slightly large city.
Yeah.
Beyond that, even the most small towns aren't going to be bothered.
When you say central, are you talking about like, you know how Vietnam is like an S, yeah?
Yeah.
And the jungle is sort of more towards the like right in the middle of it. But if we're looking at where the beach is, you're still saying that there's not that many big cities and it's still very jagged and it's also not very friendly for people.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
mountainous.
it's friendly for people as tourists, but not as a cyclist.
Okay.
There are only 3 major cities in Vietnam. That's Hanoi, Da Nang, and Saigon, and the other large, like, I wouldn't say major cities, but like smaller cities. They're mostly located in the south, actually.
Yeah.
Like
right.
Cà Mau is one of them, Cần Thơ. And
You better be, tracking all this for the editing on the,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all coming into my brain.
But in between, let's say Hanoi and Da Nang,
Uploading.
there are many large cities. I mean, there's Hue,
Okay.
but that Hue is basically just an extension of Da Nang.
Okay.
There's like Vinh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, in between them, like once you go beyond Thanh Hoa and Thanh Hoa do have some large, or not large, but just large towns or like medium-sized cities.
Okay.
From what is known as Ha Tinh all the way down to Quang Chit. Those
Right.
areas, very rural, very mountainous. Not many towns,
Mm.
and people there are known for using a lot of lard in their food. Actually,
Okay, cool. Well, I have to keep all that in mind. It'll be great in a video. Like, I'm making all these videos, and I want to do more of like a vlog experience. So, let's see. Maybe it'll get international attention. Like, who knows? You know?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think big.
Well,
Inshallah,
at the very
we'll see.
least, we'll be sharing it. Me and
Yeah,
Jason,
thanks
so-
guys. Thanks for
Yeah.
giving me a platform right now. Just before we finish, we want to do a quick cultural exchange because we have our words in our culture or our religion, and some of those words are mashallah and inshallah. Do you know what these words mean?
I think praise God.
Ooh, close.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be.
Have you heard anyone say mashallah or inshallah before? They're two quite different things.
Yeah, I've heard of, because I met a lot of Muslims here, so I hear it randomly. Yeah.
Yeah, mashallah is sort of like when you see, for example, someone does a good job, you say mashallah. It literally means Allah has willed it, right? So you say it that time. And inshallah is when you want something to happen, you say if Allah wills it. Like, oh, inshallah it happens, hopefully. Sort of, in a figurative way. Hopefully it happens, inshallah.
Yeah, so God willing, and also God has willed it.
Yeah.
So
Is there a
essentially-
phrase in Vietnamese that would you say is like quite similar that would be very good for me or Shaza to learn if we went to Vietnam?
I would say no, because for the most part, the Vietnamese people aren't very religious.
Okay.
What about like just, oh, good job? Or like,
yeah.
Oh, hopefully.
Yeah, if it's like that, it's gonna be something like. Actually, there is no universal word.
Like hopefully?
What about like Cam On? That's like.
Yeah, so kamon just means thank
Thank
you.
you,
But yeah, we
yeah.
don't have like expressions like that. That
Yeah,
you see in other
okay.
cultures.
Really?
Yeah.
There's no other like expression to say like, oh, hopefully you succeed or something.
Yeah, then it's not an expression. It's
It's
just
not
a
like
sentence.
Italy, for
Oh.
example.
It's just
Okay.
gonna be like
That's expressive.
mong bạn làm việc tốt.
Okay.
But that's not an expression. That's just a sentence.
Would you see people
Interesting.
are more? I guess they use more like gestures as opposed to words in Vietnam.
Yes,
Yeah.
because despite the fact that we are physically in Southeast Asia, culturally we're very East Asian,
Right.
and with a lot of East Asian cultures, they're very high context.
High context. Right.
So
That's what-
what is inferred is based on the action, not by the words.
Okay. So they'll slap you.
Huh?
They'll get physical. They'll
or
slap
they
you.
give you like that side eye or something.
If I say to them, oh, I'm going to Hanoi from Ho Chi Minh City by bike, they'll like say, oh my God, they'll slap me and they'll say, what do you think you're doing? You know? And they'll try to stop me because they love me.
Yeah, if they care
I
enough.
think they're a little bit nicer than that.
No. The slap is an affectionate slap. It's like a nice
Okay.
way to say, please don't do that to them, right?
They wouldn't slap you. They'll just berate your ancestors for doing it.
Oh wow, okay. In a language that I don't understand. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
very fun. Okay, well, want to wrap that up right there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jason. We both really do appreciate your time
Yeah,
coming,
it's nice to be here too.
culturally exchanging with us, about the Vietnamese and the ways, and also going to Vietnam. That's something really exciting for myself. Inshallah, I will be doing it December 3rd. I'll be landing in Ho Chi Minh City. So inshallah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
time for
Thank you.
I hope you stay
Yeah.
alive.
Thank you. I hope I survive. I hope I survive as well, inshallah.
Mission Impossible.